My neighbor's desperate warning shattered my world. Run while you can. Your son and his wife are monsters. At first I thought I'd misheard him. His lips moved again, his eyes frantic, but my mind refused to process the words. My son, a monster, his wife, poison. The world around me seemed to still. A bird perched on the black iron fence chirped once, then flew off into the evening sky. The street was quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that felt thick, suffocating, unnatural. I had lived on this block for decades. I knew every crack in the pavement, every dented mailbox, every friendly wave from neighbors. Yet in that moment, standing on the walkway outside my son's mansion, everything felt foreign. My name is Scott Henderson. I'm 62 years old, a retired construction foreman, a widower, a father. And if you had told me 24 hours earlier that I would be questioning whether my own son wanted me dead, I would have laughed in your face. My wife, Margaret, passed away 5 years ago. Cancer, the kind that creeps into your life like a thief in the night and strips everything away, piece by piece. She was my anchor, my compass. When she died, the world dimmed. For a long time, Daniel, my son, was the only light that kept me going. Daniel was brilliant, ambitious, everything I hoped he'd be. I had spent my life with calloused hands, pouring sweat into building homes for other people. Daniel, though, he wanted more. He studied finance, wore pressed suits, and always said he'd give Margaret and me the life we deserved. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. But after Margaret's death, something shifted. Daniel grew distant. Calls became shorter, visits rarer. When he married Emily, I hoped she'd bring him back down to earth, ground him, remind him of family. But instead, the distance grew wider. I had chalked it up to life. People get busy, I told myself. He still loves me. He's just overwhelmed. And now here was my neighbor, trembling, telling me my own blood had become something unrecognizable. I turned slowly to look at the house. It wasn't just a house, it was a statement. A sprawling modern villa with gleaming white walls, towering glass windows and sharp edges that seemed to cut into the evening sky. Daniel and I had built the foundation together, years ago, before Margaret's illness. He had been fresh out of college then, eager to prove himself. We'd worked shoulder to shoulder, pouring concrete, hauling beams. I still remembered the sweat dripping down his forehead, his grin when we raised the first wall. "This is for us, Dad," he had said. "One day this will be your place too." And now I stood outside the same house, feeling like an intruder. "Scott," my neighbor whispered, his voice breaking me from the memory. "Don't go inside. Whatever you do, don't drink, don't eat. Just don't." I searched his face. His name was Richard, a quiet man, retired schoolteacher. Always polite, always reserved. He wasn't the kind to stir drama. In fact, in 30 years, I don't think I'd ever heard him raise his voice. And yet here he was, panicked, gripping the fence as if it were the only thing keeping him standing. "Why are you saying this?" I asked, my throat dry. "What are you talking about?" Richard's eyes darted toward the house. A curtain shifted in an upstairs window. My stomach nodded. Someone was watching. "They're not who you think they are," Richard muttered. "I've seen things, Scott, heard things. Arguments at night, strangers coming and going. The way Emily talks about you when she thinks no one's listening." His voice cracked. "It's not love, Scott, it's hatred. I don't know what they're planning, but please don't walk into that house." Hatred. The word clung to me like a parasite. I shook my head, trying to clear it. This was madness. Daniel was my son, my flesh and blood. Sure, he'd changed, grown colder, but a monster. A killer? No, impossible. And yet, memories flickered, uninvited. Emily's sharp smile when she thought I wasn't looking. The way Daniel had avoided eye contact at the funeral. leaving me to stand alone by Margaret's grave. The phone call last week, rushed, distracted. His voice clipped when he invited me to dinner. "Come by this weekend," he'd said. "Emily wants to see you. We'll talk about the future." Something in his tone had unsettled me then. But grief makes you ignore things, doesn't it? You tell yourself you're imagining it. You cling to hope even when your gut twists. Now Richard's words tore those excuses apart. The sun dipped lower, painting the sky in shades of crimson and violet. Long shadows stretched across the lawn, and the house loomed taller, darker, almost menacing. I realized my hands were trembling. Not from age, not from weakness, but from a fear I couldn't name. "Scott," Richard whispered again, gripping my arm. "Promise me you won't go in there. Promise me." I opened my mouth, but no words came, because in the upstairs window the curtain shifted again. This time I saw her, Emily. Her pale face framed by perfect dark hair. Her lips curled into a smile that wasn't a smile at all. Cold, calculated, watching me like a predator sizing up prey. And in that single glance, my neighbor's warning didn't sound so crazy anymore. Scott stands frozen at the edge of the walkway, neighbor's urgent warning echoing in his ears, his son's house looming ahead, Emily's cold smile watching from above. He has two choices: turn away and run, or step into the lion's den. The front door loomed in front of me like the mouth of a beast, wide and waiting to swallow me whole. Richard's hand still clutched my sleeve, trembling. "Don't do it, Scott," he pleaded, his voice raw. "You don't know what you're walking into." But I did know. Or maybe I didn't. Maybe that was the point. My heart was a storm inside my chest, each beat screaming at me to turn back. Yet my legs, stubborn and loyal to something deeper, carried me forward. Because how could I believe it? How could I believe my own son, my boy, when it was capable of hatred, of betrayal? I pulled free from Richard's grip. His eyes sank, full of sorrow, as if he already knew what was coming. The brass door knocker gleamed under the fading light. My reflection stared back at me, older, worn, haunted. I raised my hand. 3 reps. The echo rolled through the house like thunder. The door swung open. Emily stood there. She looked radiant, too radiant. A silk dress of emerald green clung to her frame, shimmering even in the twilight. Her hair fell perfectly in place, cascading over her shoulders, not a strand out of line. Her smile spread wide, warm on the surface, but her eyes were sharp, predatory. "Scott," she said, her voice dripping honey. "You made it." Her tone was welcoming, yet it coiled around me like a snake. I forced a smile, though my throat was dry. "Of course. Daniel invited me." She tilted her head, studying me for a beat too long, then stepped aside. "Come in, we've been waiting." The moment I crossed the threshold, something changed. The house was beautiful, yes, but beauty can hide rot. Polished marble floors stretched beneath my feet, cold and echoing. The chandelier above glittered, but its light felt harsh, glaring down as if judging me. The air carried a faint scent of lavender, pleasant, but beneath it lingered something metallic, bitter. My gut tightened. On the far wall hung a large portrait, Daniel and Emily standing stiffly together. His smile was forced, hers was sharp, victorious. I'd seen wedding photos before, but this one looked like a painting of conquest, not love.
"Dad!"
I turned. Daniel walked in from the dining room, his arms spread wide. His suit was perfectly pressed, his hair slicked back. But his face, my God, his face. He smiled, yes, but it didn't reach his eyes. Those eyes were hollow, tired, distant. He embraced me briefly, tightly. Too tightly. "It's been too long," he murmured, patting my back. "Come, dinner's ready." The dining table gleamed under candlelight. Crystal glasses sparkled, silver cutlery lined up with precision. A roasted chicken sat at the center, golden brown, surrounded by bowls of mashed potatoes, vegetables, and a rich red sauce that shimmered almost unnaturally. Emily poured wine into my glass, her hand steady, her smile unwavering. "Sit, Scott," she said. "You must be hungry." I lowered myself into the chair, every muscle taut. Richard's warning hammered in my head. Don't drink. Don't eat. Daniel sat across from me, Emily at his side. They watched me too closely, as if waiting for something. "So," I began, forcing casualness into my tone. "How's work, Daniel?" He smirked faintly. "Busy, always busy. Deals, meetings, you know how it is. But Emily helps keep me grounded." Her hand slid over his, possessive, controlling. I nodded, pretending not to notice. My eyes flicked to the wine glass. Deep crimson, too dark, too thick. My gut clenched. "Drink," Emily urged gently, her smile widening. "You must be thirsty." My fingers brushed the stem of the glass, but I didn't lift it. Instead, I asked, "What's in this sauce? Smells different." Emily's smile faltered for the briefest moment, then returned. "A family recipe," she said smoothly. "Passed down from my grandmother." Daniel's fork clinked against his plate, too loud. He cleared his throat, staring at me. "Dad, you look tired. You should eat. You need your strength." The room grew heavier, the air thicker. My pulse thundered. I looked at them, at Emily's expectant stare, at Daniel's tense jaw. And for the first time, I didn't see my son. I saw a stranger, a puppet, controlled by the woman at his side. Something inside me whispered, "This is the trap. This is where it begins." Scott sits at the lavish table, the untouched glass of wine before him, the strange sauce glistening on the chicken. His neighbor's warning screams in his ears. Across the table, Emily's smile sharpens, Daniel's eyes darken. The dinner has started, and Scott knows every bite could be his last. The flames of the candles danced on the polished silver, shadows stretching across the table like long, skeletal fingers. The house was silent, save for the faint ticking of an antique clock on the mantel. Each tick cut into me, louder and louder, as if time itself was daring me to move. I sat at the grand oak table, the untouched glass of wine before me. My reflection shimmered in the crimson liquid. A man caught between hunger and suspicion, between trust and fear. Emily leaned forward slightly, her posture graceful, too controlled. "Scott," she said, her tone smooth as silk, "you really should try the wine. It's from a private vineyard, bottled only for us. Daniel adores it." Daniel nodded stiffly, his smile forced. "It's tradition, Dad. In this house, the first glass is shared. It's respect." Respect. The word landed like a stone in my gut. Respect had been the backbone of my life. Respect for work, for family, for love. But here now that word sounded twisted, corrupted. I lifted the glass by the stem, swirling it slowly. The liquid clung to the crystal, thick and heavy, too much like blood. My nose caught a faint bitterness beneath the aroma of grapes. Emily's eyes gleamed as she watched me. Every tiny movement I made seemed to delight her. "Go on," she urged softly. "Taste it." Richard's words echoed in my head. "Don't drink. Don't eat." I smiled faintly, masking the storm inside me. "You know, I always preferred whiskey," I said, setting the glass back down. Daniel's jaw clenched. A flash of irritation flickered across his face. Emily chuckled lightly, though the sound was brittle. "Of course. But one sip won't hurt, will it?" Her words dripped with irony. The roasted chicken was carved, slices placed neatly on my plate, smothered in that strange, shimmering sauce. Daniel pushed the plate toward me, his hand steady, his stare unblinking. "You worked hard your whole life, Dad," he said quietly, almost rehearsed. "Always providing, always sacrificing. Now let us take care of you." Take care of me. The phrase twisted like a knife in my chest. I picked up my fork, my hand steady though my pulse was anything but. The first bite hovered inches from my mouth. My son's eyes bored into me. His wife's smile stretched wider, like a predator watching its prey inch closer to the trap. I lowered the fork, slowly, deliberately. Emily's expression flickered. For the first time, her perfect mask cracked. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice dipped in sugar but her eyes sharp as glass. "Don't you trust us?" I leaned back in my chair, folding my hands calmly. "Trust," I repeated softly. "Funny thing about trust. It's earned over years, but it can be lost in seconds." Daniel's hand slammed against the table, the plates rattling. "Stop dancing around, Dad. Eat." The outburst silenced the room. Even Emily's eyes widened for a fraction of a second before narrowing again. I stared at my son, at the boy I once held, once guided, once taught right from wrong. His face was flushed, his breaths heavy. This wasn't my Daniel. This was a man hollowed out, a puppet pulled by strings I couldn't see. "Why the rush?" I asked quietly, my voice like steel. "What are you afraid I'll find in this food if I wait?" Emily leaned in closer, her smile gone now, her eyes burning with unveiled contempt. "You always were too clever for your own good," she hissed softly, her voice so low only I could hear. Daniel's fork trembled in his hand. His gaze flicked from me to her, uncertainty clouding his eyes. "Emily," he began, but she cut him off with a look. A look so sharp, so commanding, it froze him in place. The truth lay naked between us now. They didn't want me here for dinner. They wanted me gone, erased. And yet Emily's lips curved back into a grin as she spoke louder, sweet enough for the walls to hear. "Scott, you must forgive Daniel. He's just anxious. We've both been so excited to have you here. This meal means everything." I set my fork down with a soft clink, meeting her gaze head on. "Yes," I said. "I can see it means everything." The tension was unbearable, the air electric. The poisoned meal sat untouched before me, a silent weapon waiting to strike. Across the table, Emily's smile returned, sharper than a blade. Daniel's breathing grew heavier, sweat glistening on his temple. And I knew the next move would decide everything. Because if I lifted that fork again, the game would be over. But not for them, for me. The silence at that table was louder than gunfire. My untouched plate glistened in the candlelight, mocking them. Emily's smile faltered, though her eyes still burned with that predator's gleam. Daniel shifted uncomfortably, his fork tapping against his glass in an erratic rhythm. I leaned forward, folding my hands. Calm, measured, but inside, my blood was thundering. "Tell me something," I said softly. "Did you think I wouldn't notice?" Emily tilted her head. "Notice what, Scott?" Her voice oozed sugar, but her jaw clenched tight. "That you've been waiting for this moment. That every polite word tonight has been rehearsed. That this meal isn't about family, it's about something else entirely." Daniel swallowed hard. "Dad, stop." "You're overthinking this. It's just dinner." "Dinner?" I laughed bitterly. "Dinner doesn't smell like betrayal." Her smile dropped. "Just like that." "You old fool," she hissed suddenly, venom spilling out unchecked. Always suspicious. Always doubting. No wonder Daniel could never measure up. You smothered him with your rules, your lectures, your damn morals. Daniel's eyes widened. "Emily," she cut him off, her voice rising. "You never saw him as a man, Scott, just a shadow of you. But with you gone, he'll finally be free. We'll both be free." Her words cracked the air like a whip. Daniel froze. His fork slipped from his hand, clattering against the plate. His eyes darted from her to me, confusion clouding them. "Emily, what are you saying?" he whispered. But she didn't answer him. She didn't need to. The truth hung heavy in the room, undeniable. I leaned back slowly, never breaking eye contact with her. "So this is it," I said. "This was the plan all along. Use my son's grief, twist it, poison it, until he sees me as the enemy. Until I'm nothing but an obstacle between you and whatever you're chasing." Emily's lips curled into a cruel grin. "Finally he sees." But Daniel slammed his hand against the table. "Enough, both of you." His voice cracked, but his hands trembled. "This isn't what tonight was supposed to be." He turned to Emily, desperation etched across his face. "Tell me this isn't what you mean. Tell me you didn't bring him here for this." Emily reached out, her fingers grazing Daniel's arm. Her tone softened instantly, dripping with manipulation. "Oh, darling," she cooed, "everything I do is for us. For our future. Don't you see? He's holding us back. His money, his power, his judgment, it's all chains. Once he's gone, everything will be ours. No more looking over our shoulders. No more begging for his approval. Just us." Daniel's lips trembled. His gaze flicked back to me, full of something I hadn't seen in years. "Guilt, Dad," he whispered, his voice breaking. For a heartbeat, I thought I saw the boy he used to be. The boy who once believed in right and wrong. But Emily's hand tightened on his, her nails digging into his skin. "Don't listen to him," she whispered fiercely. "He's manipulating you, just like he always did." The tension snapped like a rope pulled too tight. Stood slowly, my chair scraping against the wooden floor. "If you want me gone," I said coldly, "you'll have to do it yourselves. But you'll never take my soul. You'll never take Daniel's either, not unless he hands it to you." Emily rose too, her eyes blazing with fury. The facade was gone now. What stood before me wasn't a charming daughter-in-law, but something darker. "You don't belong here anymore, Scott," she spat. "This house isn't yours. This family isn't yours. You're just an old man waiting to die." Her words cut deep. But instead of pain, I felt fire. "Then why," I asked quietly, "do you look so afraid?" The room erupted. Daniel shoved back his chair, his face twisted in torment. Emily's hand darted toward the kitchen, counter toward something hidden just out of sight. And as she moved, I saw it, the glint of steel, a knife. The game had just shifted from words to survival. The metallic gleam caught the candlelight. Emily's fingers wrapped tight around the knife's handle, her knuckles pale, her breath sharp and shallow. Daniel's chair screeched backward, his face ghost white. "Emily, no." But she didn't hear him. Or maybe she did and didn't care. Her eyes were locked on me, cold, electric, murderous. "You should have eaten the food," she whispered. Her words slithered into the air, chilling me to the bone. The knife flashed. Emily lunged across the table with the fury of a storm, her face twisted, lips curled back in something between a snarl and a scream. Instinct took over. I shoved the table upward, the heavy oak slamming into her torso. Dishes shattered, wine spilled like blood across the floor. The knife missed me by inches, slicing through empty air. "Stop it," Daniel roared, scrambling to his feet. But his voice cracked, torn between horror and loyalty. Emily regained her balance, the knife gleaming once more. Her breath was ragged, but her smile returned, unhinged, feral. "You can't stop this, Scott. You can't stop me." I kept my eyes on her, but my words were aimed at him. "Daniel, look at her. Look at what she's become. This isn't love. This isn't family. This is madness." Emily's voice cut through, sharp and venomous. "Don't listen to him. He wants to control you like he always has. He'll never let you live your own life." Daniel's hands trembled. His gaze darted between us, sweat dripping down his temple. His lips moved, but no words came out. And I saw it, the war inside him, the boy I raised battling the man she created. "Daniel," I said again, louder now, commanding. I am your father. I gave you life. And she... I jabbed a finger at Emily. She wants to take it all away. Not just from me, but from you too. Emily's laugh was sharp, almost manic. Don't you see? He'll never let go, Daniel. He'll chain you to his failures, his old ways, his pathetic pride. But me, I'll give you the world. With him gone, we'll be untouchable. She stepped closer, the knife trembling in her grip. All you have to do is let me end this. Her eyes darted to Daniel, blazing with a sick kind of love. Help me, and we'll finally be free. For a heartbeat, Daniel didn't move. His chest heaved, his fists clenched. His silence screamed louder than words. Then he moved toward her. Daniel? I shouted, my heart seizing. He grabbed her wrist, the knife wobbling dangerously between them. Her face twisted in shock, then rage. Let me go, she screeched, clawing at him with her free hand. But Daniel held tight, his voice breaking as he shouted back, Stop this, Emily! Stop before it's too late! The knife shook violently, trapped between her fury and his trembling grip. I lunged forward, slamming my hand over theirs, forcing the blade downward. The three of us were locked in a deadly tug-of-war, the knife tip inches from my chest. Sweat poured down my face. My arms burned with strain. Emily thrashed, snarling like a cornered animal, her nails raking across Daniel's skin. Blood smeared, voices collided, the air filled with chaos. And through it all, I stared at my son. Daniel? I shouted over the storm. Choose! Right now, her or the truth. His eyes met mine, wide, terrified, torn. Emily screamed his name, begging, demanding, cursing. And then, with a sound like thunder, the knife slipped free. The blade clattered against the floor, spinning in the candlelight. Silence crashed down, thick and suffocating. Emily's chest rose and fell, her face twisted with rage and desperation. Daniel stood frozen, his hands trembling, blood streaked across his skin. And I knew the next move she made wouldn't be with a knife. It would be something far, far worse. The knife lay on the floor, glinting harmlessly in the candlelight. But Emily's eyes told me the battle wasn't over. She straightened slowly, chest heaving, her face flushed with fury. Then, almost impossibly, she began to laugh. Soft at first, then louder, until the sound rattled the walls. You think this is over? She hissed. You think taking away a knife ends me? Oh, Scott. Oh, Daniel. You don't even know the game you're in. Daniel stumbled backward, his hands still trembling, streaked with blood from her nails. He looked at her as though seeing her for the first time. Emily, what are you saying? She turned to him slowly, her laughter cutting off like a snapped string. And in that silence, her face shifted. The mask she'd worn for years, the gentle smile, the doting wife, it all melted away. What remained was sharp, cold, predator-like. I'm saying, she whispered, her voice dripping with venom, that everything you thought was real between us was a lie. Daniel's breath caught. A lie? Her smile widened. Of course. You really think I married you for love? That I cared about your dreams, your music, your perfect little future? I felt the air grow heavy as her words sliced through him. I married you, Emily continued, her tone shifting to a razor's edge. Because you were his son. Her eyes darted to me, burning with hatred. Because being with you was the fastest way to tear him apart, from the inside. And oh, how I've enjoyed it. Daniel staggered back, shaking his head violently. No, that's not true. You loved me. You said... She laughed again, cruel and hollow. I said what I needed to say. Every kiss, every promise, every tear. All rehearsed. All part of the plan. Her gaze turned back to me and the smile faded into something darker. I wanted to destroy you, Scott. Not with guns, not with knives. with something slower, deeper. I wanted you to watch everything you built crumble piece by piece until you begged for death. Daniel dropped into the nearest chair, clutching his head. His breathing turned ragged, his eyes glistening. You used me? For years? For all of this? Emily tilted her head, mock sympathy dripping from her tone. Oh, Daniel, don't be so dramatic. You weren't hard to fool. You wanted to believe, and I gave you exactly what you craved. His voice cracked, barely audible. I loved you. Emily's lips curved into a wicked grin, and that's why it worked. I stepped forward, fury boiling in my veins. You monster. She turned to me sharply, her smile gone, her words like acid. No, Scott, not a monster. A strategist. And the truth is, she leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper, I'm still winning. Her hand slipped into her pocket. She pulled out a phone. The screen lit up, numbers, bank accounts, transactions. And there it was, Daniel's inheritance. Every cent transferred, gone. Daniel's head shot up, his eyes wide in horror. No, that's impossible. The lawyers, the trust. Emily chuckled. Oh, Daniel, you really think I married you without preparing? Without learning every weakness, every loophole, every string to pull? That money was never yours. It was mine the moment you said I do. Daniel shot to his feet, shaking furious. You stole everything. Emily shrugged, her calm returning like a mask sliding back on. Not stole, collected. You see, Daniel, you were an investment. And now, you've paid out, fully. I felt the air crackle with something darker. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was annihilation. You've ruined him, I spat. Emily's smile sharpened. Not ruined, freed. Now he has nothing. No money, no love, no safety. He's hollow. And what happens to hollow men, Scott? They break. Just like you did. Daniel's breathing grew heavier, his fists clenched. Tears streaked down his face, but his eyes burned with something new. Not confusion, not fear, rage. Emily didn't notice. She was too busy savoring her victory, staring at me with that predator's grin. But I saw it. I saw the storm rising in my son's soul, and for the first time in years, I was terrified, not of losing him to her lies, but of what he might do next. Scott's hands were trembling as he stood at the threshold of the darkened house. Every warning from his neighbor echoed in his mind, each word a hammer against his skull. Run while you can. Your son and his wife are monsters. He stepped inside. The air was thick, suffocating, as if the house itself knew the horror that had been brewing within its walls. Shadows danced across the walls, twisted by the dim light of a flickering bulb. Then he saw them, his son and his wife, but they weren't the people he thought he knew. There was a cold, inhuman glint in their eyes, something that made his stomach churn. The truth hit him like a freight train. His son and daughter-in-law weren't just cruel. They were dangerous, calculating evil. What have you done? Scott's voice broke, barely more than a whisper. His son smiled, slow and deliberate. Everything you didn't want to see, Father. Scott stumbled backward as memories rushed in, small disappearances, strange noises in the night, the neighbors' fearful glances. It all made sense now, and yet it was worse than he could imagine. The wife stepped forward, her expression a mask of calm. You never understood us, she said softly. And now, it's too late. In that moment, Scott realized the only way to survive was to outsmart them, to think faster than he ever had. He grabbed a nearby lamp, heart hammering, and prepared to fight, not just for himself, but for the innocent lives at stake. A scream pierced the silence. It came from upstairs. Scott froze. His mind raced. Every step, every heartbeat, every shadow was a potential trap. But he couldn't turn back now. He ran upstairs, and what he saw made him stop cold. The horrifying truth laid bare in front of him. The monsters he had feared were real, and they had already claimed those he loved most. Tears blurred his vision, but Scott's resolve hardened. This was the moment of reckoning. He would confront the evil in his own home, face the betrayal, and uncover the full scope of their twisted plan. The final confrontation was brutal, tense, and unrelenting. Every second stretched like an eternity. Scott fought with desperation, with fear, with every ounce of courage he had left. And when the dust settled, he stood there battered but alive, having exposed the monsters hiding behind familiar faces. As the first light of dawn broke through the windows, Scott knew life would never be the same. But he had survived. He had uncovered the truth. And in that haunting silence, one thing was certain. He would never allow such darkness to hide in his world again. The camera would pull back, showing Scott standing alone amid the wreckage, a survivor scarred by betrayal, yet unbroken. The screen fades to black,